What's good, everybody? Wanted to make a quick video about maybe one of the bigger storylines going into the NFL draft, which is 8 days away now. And that is, who are the Cincinnati Bengals going to take with their 5th overall pick? And as you can see in the background, it's between two guys. The argument is between Penei Sewell, offensive tackle, or Ja'Marr Chase, wide receiver, former teammate of Joe Burrow's back when they were both, of course, members of the LSU team. Now, to me, this pick is obvious. The pick should be Penei Sewell. And, for a myriad of reasons. But this article published by Bengals Wire on USA Today a couple of days ago makes it seem, that Ja'Marr Chase is going to be the picker. Now, obviously, Ja'Marr Chase is a phenomenal player. He's a great talent. If they do take him, it's not like an awful pick. You're getting a great player at the end of the day, but let's start with the first reason why it should be Penei Sewell. The idea of drafting an offensive tackle is so you can protect your most important asset, which is Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow didn't play the full season last year. Joe Burrow tore his ACL. He got hurt. Why did he get hurt? Because, the offensive lineman in front of him last year should not be in the league. Plain and simple. That's why he got hurt. The linemen that they employed, that the Cincinnati Bengals employed to cover their most important player, were not up to snuff. They should not be in the league. Penei Sewell automatically gives you a cornerstone offensive lineman to help protect Joe Burrow. Now, of course, that's not going to be enough. They're going to need to draft more talent at the offensive line position. But this wide receiver class, I've said it so many times throughout these few videos that I've made, is so loaded. And you can draft Penei Sewell in the first round, 5th overall. Come back in the second round and take, maybe a Terrace Marshall if he's there. Maybe an Elijah Moore. Maybe a Diami Brown. Maybe a Rondale Moore. There's so many receivers. You don't even have to take one in the second. You could take one in the third round. That can be complimentary. I want to take a look at Cincinnati's depth chart real quick because, people say that they want a receiver in the 5th round. 5th overall, excuse me. But you have T. Higgins. You took him at the top of the second round last year. He almost topped 1,000 yards with Joe Burrow missing half the season. You have Tyler Boyd, who's topped 1,000 yards before in his career. You have Auden Tate, who has shown some flashes. He's still a young player. I think he's 25 years old. 6'5", a big body receiver, outside guy who, I think has some potential. T. Higgins, like I said, he's going into his second year, so he's young. Tyler Boyd is 26. He's young. They have Joe Mixon. The skill positions for Cincinnati are some of the best. This might be one of the best skill position groups in the league. Now, obviously, if you add Ja'Marr Chase, they get exponentially better. But take a look at that offensive line. Michael Jordan, Trey Hopkins, Quentin Spain. Do you know who these guys are? Sure, they have Jonah Williams at left tackle, but Jonah Williams is far from a sure thing. He's been hurt. He hasn't played a lot of games since coming into the league. So, Jonah Williams, we don't know if he's a bust or if he's a knockout pick yet. We just don't. That's the scenario. We know T. Higgins is good. We know Tyler Boyd is good. We know Joe Mixon is good. So Penei Sewell not only helps Joe Burrow, but he helps Joe Mixon as well, because he's a massive individual, but he moves good in space as well. And Zach Taylor, their head coach, is not necessarily a Shanahan disciple, but he comes from, he was with the Rams with Sean McVay, so he's comes from that 12 personnel heavy, outside zone esque type, offenses. And if you get a guy like Penei Sewell, that's going to help Joe Mixon as much as it helps Joe Burrow. So, I see this as an obvious pick. I really do. And they could come back in the second round, maybe draft a pass rusher, because I don't see a lot of these pass rushers going in the first round. I really don't. So I think they could get a pass rusher in the second round. They lost Carl Lawson. They did bring in Trey Hendrickson, but, who had a good year last year for sure, but Trey Hendrickson was around, David Onyemata. He was around, who's the pass rusher? The stud pass rusher for the Saints, whose name escapes me right now. I'm going to look his name up real quick. Cam Jordan. Yeah, I figured that one out. Yeah, so he was around Cam Jordan. He was around David Onyemata. So I don't necessarily know if he can be the number one pass rusher for the team. So I could see them in the second round, maybe taking a guy like Jalen Phillips if he's there, and then getting a receiver in the third round. This receiver class is loaded, man. You can find a receiver in the later rounds. Who can start? You can. So I think the Bengals should focus on more pressing needs. Like, another reason why I think they should go offensive line rather than receiver. Like, you want to say this offensive line class is deep. Let's take a look at how many other teams need offensive line help after the Bengals pick at 5. The Dolphins. You can make an argument the Dolphins need offensive line. The Lions. The Panthers. That's 3 teams already. Broncos, don't think so. Cowboys. Giants, definitely. The Chargers, Vikings, definitely. Heavily mock drafted offensive linemen. The Raiders could use one. Dolphins again. I mean, the Bears could. The Colts need a left tackle. The Jets helps around Zach Wilson, could definitely go offensive line. The Steelers, they lost their center, Marquise Pouncey. They also lost Matt Filer, and Villanueva has yet to sign. So they definitely need offensive linemen. The Jaguars to help Trevor Lawrence, for sure they could go. Packers, they did lose Corey Linsley, but I don't think they go offensive line in the first round. And then the Chiefs. The main reason they lost the Super Bowl was because they couldn't, help block Patrick Mahomes. So that's a ton of teams in the first round that need an offensive lineman. So, sure, you maybe could get a solid one in the second round, but compared to Penei Sewell, it's going to be a giant drop-off. Jamar Chase is a stud, for sure. But how big is the drop-off from Jamar Chase to a receiver in the second round you could target? Like a Terrace Marshall, like an Elijah Moore. Obviously, Jamar Chase is better than those guys, but, a Kadarius Toney, or Rashad Bateman, if he's there, those guys are very good players. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think this is a clear decision for the Bengals, and it's also a pretty funny tweet I saw that says, "Tell us who the Bengals are drafting without telling us who the Bengals are drafting," and it's a picture of Joe Burrow's ACL tear. Like, yeah, they should go Penei Sewell. Now, again, it's reported, and it's not chalk, but people are leaning towards it being Jamar Chase. And again, it's not a bad pick. You're going to get a good player either way. And at the end of the day, that's what you want. But it should be about maintaining and uplifting Joe Burrow in his career and keeping him as healthy as possible. We don't want this to turn out to be a, maybe another Andrew Luck situation here. So, even Rashawn Slater, I'm fine with Slater at 5. If it means you're investing in the offensive line, which is, I would say, very clearly the worst position group of this team, then I don't care if it's Penei Sewell or Rashawn Slater. We've heard some rumblings that maybe Rashawn Slater is going to be the pick, the first offensive lineman off the board. Guys in the know like Daniel Jeremiah, who works at the NFL Network, and Peter Schrager as well. Both those guys are in the know. Both those guys have legit contacts, and both those guys have Rashawn Slater as the first tackle off the board. So maybe it's him. And I'd be fine with Rashawn Slater as well. As long as you're putting top resources into the offensive line. That's what I care about. Because Joe Burrow, is one of my favorite players in the league. And I want to see him healthy. I want to see him slinging the rock, have time to throw. He's already got receivers in place. He's already got a stud running back in place. Get him the offensive line help. And I really think, the Bengals are not far off. They definitely need defensive help, but with Joe Burrow and those skill positions, they just need time. They need offensive linemen. Give Joe Burrow time, and Joe Burrow can dissect defenses because the skill positions are good, man. They're good. So that's my 2 cents on it. I would go Penei Sewell over Jamar Chase. Maybe snag a receiver in the 2nd or the 3rd round. Pass rusher needs to work in there as well. So those are my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think. Follow me on Twitter, media_Hernandez. Subscribe to the channel, like the video. Again, tell me in the comments why you would go Jamar Chase or why you would go Penei Sewell or even Rashawn Slater. Or maybe somebody else like Kyle Pitts or, I don't know, maybe a defensive player, maybe a Patrick Surtain. I don't know. Let's get crazy. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. I appreciate you. Appreciate the support. And peace.